Looking at a Fiat Punto today with a headlight issue. That one should be on like that. I've got a pad, a voltage drop of some sort. I haven't looked at it yet. Next thing, I've got the full beam. Full beam lights up on the dash and goes off. It's got the blue telltale light, so I think the switch is okay. I don't think that's working here. So I got some issues here. I'll have a look at it, see what's going on. Also, the horn's going off at random times. The headlight main beam comes on randomly and stays on. And so there's the dip. You can see a little bit glowing on my van. See there? And the full beam. But once you put the full beam on, it stays on. So I'll start looking into that. These are the relays that are faulty. I got horn, dip beam and main beam, so I'm going to see why they're all playing up. I got voltage drops inside going on with the relays, 10 volts and 10 volts, and if I ground this out, that should be the horn. Well, it's a fuse missing. I'll have to put the fuse in before I do that. Let's go to another one. Main beam, and go for that one. So we've got the power in, that one's going to the lights, so it's off. Power here, I've got a voltage drop there of only 9 volts. And if I ground that out, it's not enough to switch that on. I'll go and put the ignition on and see if that 9 volts comes up. Okay, with the ignition on I've got 12 volts. And this one is 11, slight drop because it's going through a coil. Although there's no current flow, it's not going anywhere, but I'll show you that light. That works. The main beam works here. So from here to the bulb I would say is okay. But this one might just need a bulb in here. I'll maybe try that. But yeah, this side's okay from here to the bulb. So now I'm going to try the dip beam. Same again, I got the power. That's ground because the bulb's grounded. It goes through the bulb into a ground. There's the power on that one. So we're going to switch that on. Dip beam works. This one's not working. I might just have to put a bulb in it. So they seem to work. Next I've got to switch them on and see if this is actually working here. That one, I might put that back in the main because that's the one that's reportedly got a problem. And the horn's going off at random times. So if I put all them back in, I've only got one of these for this. I don't have 3, one for each one. So there we go. Got the main beam. At the moment, main beam's not on, so that's red. If I give it ground, it lights up. There's obviously a lot of current there, so I'll just make sure that buzz is switched off. Again, if I give it ground, it comes on. So I'd say from here to the car's okay, and then we've got the power. This is the load side. Power and the ground. That's powered in. The ground is the bulb, so when that gets power, the bulb comes on. I'm switching it on by using the relay here on this side. I'm going to actually use the car and see what happens to that. At the moment, I've got the dip beam on, but I'm checking the main beam here, and we've already got a voltage drop on that side. Again, it's not the main beam, because that would be 0. Let's go and put on the full main beam, the high beam, see what's going on there. I'll try and keep this video short. See, there's no blue light up there. Now you've got the blue light. What's changed up here? What's changed? There's the control. So it's grounded it out, and the full beam's on. So that's grounded it out. But if we look on my headlight on my van, you can see it reflecting off it, even though the headlight's not switched on. So what I'm going to do now is, see the blue telltale light? I'm going to switch off the full beam. That's off, but it stayed on full beam. So now I need to go. Also, the display doesn't look great. Right, let's see what's going on here now. Why is that still on? 8 volts. I wouldn't have thought that was enough to ground it out. But clearly it is, because we've got power on both sides of this now, on the load side. 8 volts. It's not going to ground at 8.5, it should be higher than that. If I get a test light from battery power and pull that up, so it's a higher voltage, we should see that drop the dip beam and get a test light. Now I got this test light connected to power, battery positive, so if I give this a ground, I'm not giving it a ground because I'm going to a power, I'm going to give this power on this one and see if that bulb changes to low beam. Yeah, I think it did. It's hard to tell from this angle. So I pulled it down, still the same here. Strange. We're already off in here, I just pulled it down. Now I'm full beam, it's gone brighter, but it's staying bright. So, what's happening? I think the switch is okay because the light on the dash is behaving. Here, it's gone to ground when it's switched on. So if that telltale light's on, the blue light, it should be on, and it is. But when I switch it off, I don't think it's going high enough. It must be staying lower. Yeah, 7 volts, 7.9, but it's low enough, it's still enough volts. It's not gone high enough, maybe to switch this off. It's got partial ground on it. So there we go, there's a problem. And again, if I bring that higher with this, I'll show you that light. It should have gone to dip. I think it did. So it's not got the blue light on anymore. See that? I'll put it onto full beam. It's gone brighter. But I can't switch it off. So I got two choices. I could either see what's going on here with this. Where's the horn? See, the horn's in here, not in the switch. So if this is working properly, could maybe check that wire at the fuse box. Might be better. Check it there. I think it's working okay because the blue light comes on and off up here. So I think it does look more like the fuse box that's the fault. Okay, got this apart. This is the bottom side of the fuse box. I know it's raining, but it was already wet. Got this corrosion sign there. It was making it stick in there quite tight with the corrosion. And here's the plug that was in there. So we got corrosion going on. There's the problem anyway. So at least we tested and we didn't guess. We know we've got a fuse box issue and may be able to clean up the wiring. I'm trying to look inside that, see if there's anything I can do. I've managed to get this apart and there's more corrosion inside that I'm going to clean off. I took the fuses out. It doesn't look like it made any difference. All the relays and fuses could have stayed in. Unless I want to take that plastic cover off and check it on the inside. There's a bit of corrosion in there as well, so I'm going to try and give this the best clean I can and see if I can fix it, otherwise it's going to need a new one. So the bulb problem, I fixed that. I don't know if I said the bulb just needed putting in properly, and I've got that clean the best I can. I don't know if it's going to make any difference, that's why I don't really like to go too far with that. I might have made enough of a difference. I'm going to take the key out of the ignition in case it locks itself when I put this on, and then we'll try it, see what's happening. Take that out of there. It might lock the doors, I don't know, it's just a habit I've got into. There we go, hopefully there's no sparks everywhere. No lights on now, no horn. The other thing was the horn was going off randomly, and the lights. So far so good. Might have lost the radio code, but that was just the only way I could do it. Side lights. Oh, now nothing works. Full beam's working on and off, but I don't have side lights. Might have to start the car. See, the full beam's now working on and off like it should, so I've made some difference, but there's no dip that I can see. Okay, I'll start the car and see what happens. I put it together and it worked apart from there was no dip beam now, it was the high beam before, now it's the low beam. But I noticed this corrosion here coming out of the pin. That is the control to ground out the relay for the low beam. So I'm going to use that wire for now. Put this back together. I'm not going to mess with that. It's corroded. The rest of the pin's still in there. That's just corroded away. So I think I've improved some of it because the full beam works now. But I'm going to use that and solder that onto the relay for the dip beam. My temporary fix is take the wire that's broke and I've put it in through the grommet here, down the side and onto the control side of this relay, which I hope I'm on the right side. I'll just check. Yeah, that's the one. And it was like that. So now if I plug this in, I'm going to solder it if this works. I'm not going to just leave it like that. Now we're going to try that. There's the temporary repair wire going on to the same leg that it would have done inside the fuse box and going through the rubber grommet as well. So I can get that covered over. Now we've got the side lights, the main beam and the horn all working. So we go for side lights. You can't see it, but the side lights are on now. If you look at the front of my van, the headlights on this car is going to shine onto that. So dip beam and then full beam. Low, high, or dip and main. So it's all working. It works with the flash. Horn works. I think we're fine. There's no dash working now, so I think we're going to need... That ain't good. There's more stuff wrong with this. We're going to need a fuse box because the corrosion. The plug at the bottom of the fuse box didn't fit very well. The plug that was mostly the corroded one, it just wouldn't come off. There's little, when you lift the tab up, it's supposed to slide a little locking mechanism. It didn't do that. Lifted the tab up, everything stayed where it was. It was stuck tight with green corrosion. So I had to work the plug off, and it's not ideal. It's better than nothing though with that wire how it is. It's just the dash isn't working here. I now need to see why this isn't working. That could have been a problem before. We switched the car off. No, that was definitely working before. I remember seeing it. Right, sometimes when you try and do a bypass like that, it works out fine, but I think when you've got a corroded fuse box, you've got all sorts of problems. You might as well just change it. So I think the answer to this one is the original diagnostic, and it's kind of what I had a feeling it was going to be before I tested anything. It needs a fuse box, I thought, because the three things that were not working were all right next to each other. The three relays were right next to each other in the fuse box. So I'm going to have to get a fuse box, and then I'll fix that wire properly for the control side of the low beam. Apart from that, it's all done. I'm hoping that's what's wrong with the dash. I could look at the wiring diagram and see if that fuse box would affect this dash. The instruments, the instrument cluster, the miles has gone. Everything else is working. It's really annoying. See, if one wire's broke inside the fuse box. No, that wire wasn't broke in the fuse box. That wire was broke in the plug that goes onto the fuse box. So I'm really needing to get that wire plug as well. Sometimes when you get a scrapyard part, they just cut the wires, and I'm going to hope that I can get one of those and then come and put it on, and just I'll have to join all those wires, wire to wire, and then I've got a new plug that's not corroded and a new fuse box, or a second-hand new. Anyway, it's all working, apart from the display on the dash, but the side lights work. Dip or low beam, main beam or high beam or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they're working off and on. They weren't doing that before. So we've got something working. The only thing is there's no miles on the dash. I'll let her know she still needs a fuse box, and I'll class that as it's a temporary repair, but I'm going to class it as a diag, and I was able to prove that wire's broke, and yeah, I still need to know this instrument cluster. That could be a separate issue altogether. I'll just say the fault I was here for, the horn and the lights, is fixed, but I recommend a new wiring plug and the fuse box because of corrosion. Hopefully this is helpful to somebody. Thanks for watching.